What's up is that Asmongold is being a dumbass. Yeah, I saw that. It's kind of wild. You think about it. Asmon went full Hitler. It's not really the first time he's gone full Hitler. You know, it's just, I think this is like a more explicit example. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. What happened? Well, I have the clip because everyone's talking about it.
So no, if you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going.
He's genuinely You ever notice that when racists will be like, yeah, I don't like X group of people because they're innately violent. That's why I think it's okay to be violent to them. I think you might be projecting a little bit.
To cry a river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a f. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that.
So I have to say, so I'm gonna try to like engage with this a little bit constructively, because the alternative would be to just point at it and say he's stupid and terrible, which he is, and he is. So, you know, to apply our degree just a little bit more. How do I thread this? You have to genuinely be really low IQ to approach civilizational conflicts in this way. Like, X group of people are bad because their holy book is bad and it says bad stuff and they're bad. Like, leaving aside that, like, you compare the Quran to any other holy text and it's like, okay, you're all psychotic. Holy books are psychotic. It is peasant mentality, Lilycrem. It's not even like a lack of the sociological imagination. I just think you have to be, and Asmon is stupid, so it's not like we're reaching for answers we're not already familiar with. But you have to be very uninquisitive. You have to be very like incurious to approach things from that perspective. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to think of how to. Because it's one thing to say that a person is stupid, even if it's true. I like how at the top of Asmongold's subreddit, Japanese community stood their ground. I know without knowing the drama, it's gotta be something like, Westoid woke feminazi gamers wanted to remove the, you know, like, add clothing to the outfit of the 14-year-old girl in the gacha game that these developers were building. The developer said, no, we will keep her just in a bikini, or something like that. I don't know. It's probably something like that, right? Something in that ballpark, I imagine. Gotta be. We'll just assume it's that.
People don't see it that way.
No, it's about a Japanese artist drawing a character and using lighting, and the art was slightly lighter skin because of lighting. How did we get to this place? How did we get to where we are right now? Did you see the 3-hour convo Asmon had with Hassan 30 minutes ago? Why would I have seen that? Absolutely not. No, I haven't seen that. It wasn't lighting. The clothes didn't match. I'm not getting involved in this. Also, I'm just going to toss this one out there into the void. Whoa. Japanese artists drawing dark-skinned characters as lighter skin than they have? What a shocker. I haven't seen this one play out 500,000 times over the past, like, 20 years that I've been a conscious, you know, participant in online discourse. Get over it. It happens.
They'd be doing the same thing. And how much did they kill?
They'd be doing the same thing. The average, like, random civilian in Gaza would also be using thermobaric weapons on a group of civilians if they could. It's just a very, like, low IQ way of thinking.
As many as they can. They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons.
So there is a kind of truth to this, where you're arguing, okay, the only reason Israel is killing more people is because they have better and more weapons. If you reverse the situation, the Arabs could be doing conceivably the same thing to the Jewish population. There are problems with this. For one, if that was the case, we wouldn't be giving the Arabs billions of dollars of weapons. For two, we would condemn it rather than like defending it and lying to defend the people doing it. We wouldn't be like, no, we're grave. Well, I guess we did lie to defend Saudi Arabia's crimes in Yemen. They killed one of our journalists. Guys, maybe America's bad. I'm thinking about this, and I think maybe America might be a little bad sometimes. I don't know. Well, hold on. Let's not get too crazy with it. I know. Let's not go overboard. What are we talking about here? There is some truth to the idea of like, okay, well, if you do the reciprocal, then such and such. The problem with that is that you could use that as a justification for every immoral act you could ever imagine. Because you're assuming it. Oh, the Nazis are killing the Jews? Well, if the Jews were on top and it was a country of 40 million Jews and there were only 6 million Aryans in Germany, then maybe they would... Like, you could do this. It doesn't mean anything. You could do this with slaves. Like, I'm going to hit you guys with a hot take. Did you know that a lot of black slaves in America hated white people? I can't say I blame them. Clearly they don't have a sociology undergraduate degree like I do. They would understand that there's nothing innately wrong with white people. It was like socioeconomic circumstances which led to the persecution of their people and the rape and murder of tens of millions of black people in bondage. If only I could go back in time and explain to every freed slave, like, hey, it's not all white people. I'm a good white person. I recently went to Seattle's Museum of Popular Culture and went to the hip-hop exhibit, and I didn't understand any of it, but I thought the guys in the pictures on the wall looked pretty cool in their oversized pants. We're not all bad. I didn't really get who any of these guys were, but... Oh yeah, in 120 years, you'll invent something called hip-hop, and it'll be enjoyed by many white suburban boys. Anyway, the point that I was getting at, Vosh, they're killing you first in the race war. I know. I know that. What was I saying? Oh, right. You could use this argument for like, well, I don't really care about the enslavement of black people because I've talked to some black slaves and they hate white people. So I'm pretty sure if the situation was reversed, they would be doing that to white people. The problem in this case is that the murder and the genocide and the slavery are created by a set of circumstances which produces reciprocal hatred, but you can remove the genocide and the hatred. Like, we did that with slavery. There's a lot of racism around today, obviously, but there's less racism now than there was 150 years ago, 160, 170. I would like to believe. I do believe. So clearly it was possible to undo slavery and then also undo the conditions that led to the kind of reciprocal hatred that produced slavery and might have hypothetically in a different universe produced like an alternate reverse slavery where white people were in bondage to black people. Does everyone understand what I'm talking about here? What I'm saying is like, it is probably true that if you magically snapped your fingers right now and you made the Palestinian Arabs in charge of a massive nuclear-powered modern military and the Jews in the Levant were in like essentially an open-air concentration camp, it is probably the case that, yeah, the Palestinians would probably do the same damn thing. The problem then are the structures that created those circumstances, not like the innate disposition of any group of people there. Right? Like Jews in Israel, at least from what I've seen in the polling done to Israeli Jews, are kind of very fascist. But Jews over here in America are disproportionately liberal. It's not a Jew thing. It's a socioeconomic circumstances thing. Likewise with Arabs, likewise with everyone. Anyway, that's me applying my high IQ to this one. Thank you.
But if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. That's it. Just takes enough. That's right. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an...
See, this is what I mean. Wait, does he mean lefties or does he mean Arabs?
Inferior culture that is...
He means Arabs. Gotcha. I like, you can do the thing where you're like, how can you condemn them for their so-called inferior culture when you're currently engaging in the behavior that you ascribe to them, like you're projecting right now? I could say like it's super low IQ, unironically, to think like, people do bad things because of their bad culture. Like it's like a very stupid way. When he says inferior culture here, he means inferior race, by the way. Well, yeah, of course. Well, maybe he doesn't mean that because he's genuinely really dumb. Let me guess. He talked with Hassan recently, right? He like walked everything back and waffled on his position a bunch and didn't commit to any statements on innate racial inferiority or superiority. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not. There's no way he doesn't know he's overtly racist. People can really surprise. I have never been surprised by people's evil. I am often surprised by their stupidity, which maybe I need to reverse that, right? Because it's easier to ascribe to stupidity such and such, right? You've all heard the saying, but like in my mind, I can't imagine a person saying this and not knowing that they are a white supremacist, like they are engaging in that kind of behavior. But remarkably, a lot of people. What culture does Asmongold thinks he shares with Israelis? Being a fascist, I imagine.
Is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for. And it is
Like, again, like it's like the innate hypocrisy, right? Palestinians are bad because their ideology and culture is innately violent, which is why I don't care about Israelis genociding them. What? Wouldn't, like, if you reflect on this position for a minute or two, you might notice a hypocrisy?
an inferior culture in all ways.
In all, like, what does that even mean? Inferior culture in all ways? I don't even know what that means. I wonder if, like, his Nazi editor is of two minds on this, because pretending to care about the plight of the Palestinians has been one of the ways that Nazis have been galvanizing people to anti-Semitism. So it's like, this is kind of like an implicit defense of the behavior of the fascist Israelis, you know? So it's like, oh, well, hold on now. Which, like, direction do we want to take the racism in? There are so many directions. You just know when he says Western world, he means iPhone. Yeah, you talk to, like, yeah, average Western civilization enjoy. You ask them what Western civilization means, and they're like, Aristotle. You show them a picture of what, like, the average ancient Greek person would have looked like based on anthropological evidence. Not that. Like, no. They would have looked like Brad Pitt. I don't know. You never get a consistent answer. Quick, Asmongold's community, show me a picture of Western civilization, and they procure for you, like, a HoloLive roster.
It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them.
It's worth noting, by the way, and he's probably not going to get banned because he's got like 1 trillion followers or whatever, but that would, the whole, like, I don't care if they die, their culture is innately inferior, they're not like us. He's saying it about Arabs. If he was saying that about Jews, yoink. If he was saying that about even like black people, I think, like, it's because Arabs are, like, I think in the common discourse in the West, they're like an out there group or whatever. It's like Indians. Like, are there Indians in America? Of course there are. There's lots of them. But they're not part of the, like, cultural landscape that we perceive when we think of, like, American race relations. And that's of course, like, a biased mindset. But, you know, yeah, they're in the other category. Anti-Arab racism is the only acceptable prejudice left. Well, I'm not the only acceptable prejudice left. But yeah, I mean, there are American politicians, even Democrats, who have been engaging in open anti-Arab racism for, well, for a while, but specifically since October 7th. So Asmongold doesn't think that collective punishment is a war crime. Fair point, but you, a little, too many words. Asmongold doesn't think. There we go. Being stupid and unintrospective and uncritical will naturally lead you towards right-wing positions. It's just like obviously, you know? Bad people bad because they're bad, so it's okay for good people to do bad to them. It's like, I mean, can you imagine a simpler way of thinking about the world? I'm deferring to this, to the Jordan Peterson perspective on this one. Clean your room, bucko. You know, have your house in order before you attempt to change the world. How can you get, how can you expect to get good advice on changing the world from a person who's, like, bed sheets need changing? Come on.